The NHL draft is an important moment in a hockey player's career. Many factors influence draft position, from skill level to team needs. However, an often overlooked aspect is the player's birth date and its potential impacts on draft outcomes. To go deeper, our team has conducted a detailed analysis to answer the following question. Does the date of birth have an impact on the round in which an active NHL player is drafted? Our statistical study led to the following results. 3 averages of rounds drafted from each of the quadrimesters of the year. Our main question discusses the effect of the date of birth of active players in the round from which they are drafted. To determine whether there is a link or not, we proceeded with an appropriate test. At the significance level of 10%, the data of the test showed that the sample averages were significantly different from each other and that the date of birth did indeed have an impact on the round that an active player was drafted. However, in the second test, the data don't show that there is these significance differences. This indicates that the effect is not observed among forwards specifically.
Alright, so let's start with our methodology. So our population is all active NHL players in the 2024-2025 season. So we divided our population into subpopulations, so players born in the first, second, and third quadrimester. Our data comes from the NHL official website, which allows us to have high data reliability and to eliminate non-response bias. Now, with our 3 subpopulation, we took 3 different samples made of 100 hockey players chosen randomly. We will then calculate the average of each samples and compare them. So what method did we use? We used a stratified method. And why samples of 100 players? So we wanted to maximize the accuracy, and we wanted an Emax that we could tolerate. So with samples of 100 players, we could have a confidence level of 90% and an Emax of 0.25 round.
Let's continue with the data description and the interpretation of our results. So here's a box plot to visualize the data that we collected. To go into further details, we performed the Welsh test to see if date of birth has a significant impact on the draft round of an active NHL player. So here are the 2 hypotheses. H0 is that all means are the same, and H1 is that at least 2 means are different. And for a Welsh test to be valid, it must meet the following conditions. So are the samples large enough? In our study, yes, they are. And are the samples formed independently? And yes, they also are. So here's a summary of our 2 analysis. So when we study all active NHL players, a p-value calculated equals to 0.0035, so therefore we reject H0. So in other words, at the 10% significance level, the data show that there are significant differences in the mean draft round of an active NHL player depending on the quadrimester of his birth. And on the other hand, the second analysis do not reject H0 at the 10% significance level. The data doesn't show that there are significant differences in mean draft round depending on the date of birth of the player.
As for the study's limitations, we have 4. The first one being that draft round doesn't equal success. In fact, it doesn't account for other factors such as injuries or player motivation. For the second one, the sample scope only targets active players from the 24-25 season, which isn't fully representative. As for the birthday segmentation, the fact that we use quadrimesters can oversimplify the influence of a birthday on a player's success. And finally, the fact that it's an observational study can make it difficult to prove directly it affects draft round.
If there's one thing to take away from this presentation, is that while date of birth does seem to have a statistically significant impact on the draft round of NHL player, in practice, many other factors like talent, opportunity, or injuries play a much bigger role in a player's draft outcome. To conclude, since our study is observational and have few limitations, we can't establish causation. With all that being said, our study opens the door for deeper exploration into how being born earlier in the year could give player a head start in their development. Thank you for your time and hope you guys enjoyed.